Welcome to the Niche Pursuits Podcast. Are you ready to discover some niche business ideas that actually work? Well, it's time for a motivational kick to jumpstart your next big idea. Here's your host, Spencer Haws.
Hey everyone, Spencer here with nichepursuits.com, and welcome to another Niche Pursuits podcast. Today, I'm excited to introduce to you an entrepreneur who also happens to be my cousin, Jon Haws. Jon recently decided to put his schooling on hold in order to build his landscaping business full-time. This is a business that he started as something small, but it's grown to something more significant now, thanks in part to Jon's use of the internet. I'm excited to hear what's working for his business in particular right now. So, Jon, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Spencer. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited to have you on. And not only because you're my cousin, I think it's cool that I have an entrepreneur cousin, but as well, I was fascinated to hear that you were using the internet to market your landscaping business. That seemed like something that, wasn't normal, that probably other landscapers weren't out doing. So I wanted to dig in and see what's working for you.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
So initially, maybe let's kind of figure out where you started and where you are now. Maybe you can just tell me a little bit about your schooling and what your background is a little bit.
Yeah. Like a lot of guys in high school, I had a landscape company growing up, and I initially went to BYU and majored in landscape design for a little bit, and then I kind of shifted gears and took an intro to everything class. I took an intro to engineering, intro to business, intro to everything. Thought about law, thought about medical school, and just nothing really clicked with me when I started thinking about what I would be doing, 10, 15 years down the road. I never thought I could be happy doing any of those careers, and so I started a landscape company up again.
Mm-hmm.
And it just started to get, it started to become overwhelming with all the tasks that there were to do running a business on your own. And so I then got married, got rid of the company again, and decided to go back to school again, and took some more classes heading towards the medical field, and kept kind of talking myself out of it, and ended up dropping out of school again, and then finally ended up finishing up school with a degree in business. And long story short, I got a job at a company, and after about a week of sitting behind a desk and a computer, I realized it just really was not for me. And after 6 months of that, I quit that and took a position at a nursing school and started doing nursing, because that seemed like a career where I could have time to build companies on the side and to kind of try to follow, my desire to be an entrepreneur. And as I was at nursing school, we met up in Arizona, you and I, back in 2010 or something like that, and
Mm-hmm.
you kind of introduced me to some of the things that you were doing, and I took all that back to school. And while I was doing nursing school, which took up a lot of time, I also kind of started delving into the Niche Pursuits blog and kind of some of Pat Flynn's things, then a bunch of other podcasts and entrepreneurs, and started reading those things, and I started trying to build websites and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, and that takes time. That gets discouraging, I think, for a lot of people, trying to build AdSense sites. For me, it got really discouraging. I read all these guys were making all this money, and I just thought, man, there's no way I'm making 10 cents a day, maybe.
Right.
So as I kept learning that, and as I kept learning that, I realized, my problem wasn't getting sites to rank. I was getting sites to rank fine. They were just maybe the wrong keyword, or the ads weren't in the right layout, or whatever. But I realized through that process that I was able to find keywords, even though maybe they were really, really tiny words, that I could get them to rank in the top 10 of Google.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started thinking about that more, and I started one podcast that really helped me was the Stanford Entrepreneurial Thought Leaders. It's kind of a podcast that it's their technology program, and they kind of talk about tech startups and things like that. And I continued doing that, reading your blog, and playing around with Longtail Pro and all those different tools that are out there. And I started realizing, with my background in landscaping and some of my knowledge with landscaping, the value of a lawn customer to me is anywhere from $1,000 a year to $4,000 a year per customer.
Right.
And so I started running some math and started looking at how service companies run their businesses. And like you kind of said in the intro, a lot of them don't use any technology, period, and much less the internet. And so I started researching on Longtail Pro, different keywords for lawn services in the area that I'm from here in Dallas, and thought, I bet I could rank a site. And if someone signs up, rather than being worth 50 cents a click or $1 a click, they're going to be worth $1,000 to $4,000 a year. And so very quickly I had a site in the top 10 of Google. And at this point I was living in Illinois, and we started a lawn site for Dallas, Texas. So I had no business in place at all. We just kind of started the website to see if we could get anything. And lo and behold, we started getting phone calls with no business. We had no gear, no equipment, no employees, and I lived 1,500 miles away or however far away.
Okay, let's pause there for just a second. And we're going to dig into a lot of what you've covered already, but just to clarify, you were in Illinois going to nursing school, is that correct?
Right. Yeah,
okay.
That's right. Yeah.
And give us maybe a time frame, a year time frame. So you mentioned that you graduated with a business degree, and when was that you graduated with your business degree?
I finished my degree probably in 2008 or 9, somewhere around there.
Okay. And I don't know if it's a Haws thing or just something else, but you did almost exactly what I did when I graduated with my business degree. I don't know if you know this about me, but the very first job I got out of school, I worked at for about 2 weeks, and I couldn't stand it, and I quit. As well.
It's soul crushing. It just is.
Yeah, it was terrible. Anyways, that's a whole nother story, but that's just interesting. We share that aspect. Yeah. But so in around so then you moved to Illinois, decided to go to nursing school,
right.
And you had no landscaping business,
right.
But you decided to rank a site for a Dallas related keyword. Now, why did you pick Dallas if you didn't have a business in Dallas?
The reason was because I knew that I could build a lawn service here without the internet. Because I'd done it before, because I kind of grew up here and went to high school here and everything.
Right.
And then the key words it was fairly competitive. It's nothing compared to, what you recommend on your site for AdSense sites, but for our target keyword, there was like 170 searches a month. And so if I could convert those those people looking at the page to customers, and if I could get in the top 5 of Google, I felt like there was a strong chance of building a lucrative business.
Absolutely. And I find that absolutely fascinating and well thought out on your part, is to see the value of or the lifetime value of just one landscaping customer, because that makes a world of difference. Obviously when I'm building niche sites, I need to have high search volume. I need, a couple of thousand, 2,000 or 3,000 or more, preferably, searches every month for my particular keyword to even make an AdSense site viable.
Right.
But because you have customers that are so valuable, that are worth, 1,000 to 4,000 or somewhere along there, a year to you, 170 searches a month, you don't need very many of those customers or leads to make it worth your time. So I find that very interesting and smart on your part, that you saw the true value of a customer in order to do that. Now, before I dig a little bit more into some of those tactics, did you have any other business ventures before your landscaping business, or has landscaping been the only sort of entrepreneurial venture you've been into?
It's a little hard to answer that. I've done several things that have made some money, but landscaping absolutely has made. It's been the only one that I've seen the opportunity to make, a real career out of and kind of automate.
Okay.
Like I said, I did try the AdSense and Amazon Books and then other physical type of businesses, but this has been just due to my experience. This is the one that has worked for me.
Okay. No, sounds good. So why don't you kind of continue on your timeline there? You're in Illinois going to nursing school. You decide to build a site targeting a Dallas landscaping keyword. What happened there? Sort of take us from there to where you are now.
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of the hardest part of the whole thing. So this all happened during college. You get about a month break for Christmas, and so I think you and I we talked, and then I started trying to build niche sites, and then over my Christmas break, I started really getting into some of these things and started really toying with the idea of building the physical business using these things, and all of a sudden the site started ranking, and and I really felt like we could do something. And so the moment that I approached my wife about withdrawing from nursing school, and she knows my background of having gone to several colleges and withdrawing, and she's followed me around the country somewhat. Approaching her was the most difficult thing. And so I kind of, we had several conversations, and again, this was all during just the month of December. And so I told her, I said, look, let me just try to see if we can rank this. And I kind of I wrote a business plan and executive summaries for her, showing her, this is what I really believe we could do. And so then I started working, day and night. I mean, 10, 12, 15 hours a day, whatever, on building this site and on really delving into if this was possible. And so then I started back up in school in January. So this is January of 2012. So this year, and I started kind of playing around with this site more and more and more. And then come March, we got our first phone call. And again, we still had nothing in place. So we kind of took the customer with no employees, no equipment or anything, and kind of tried to push him back for a couple weeks. And then we had a break in school, and so at this point my wife's getting a little bit more interested in the idea, and so we drive down to Dallas during like a spring break, and we meet with a couple kids. These were 16-year-old boys that I ended up hiring to do this for me, and I kind of tried to teach them really quick the ropes, and that was all in a matter of a week. And then we went back up to Illinois, and we started getting more and more phone calls.
And just to interject here, are these customers, were they residential, commercial, a mixture?
It's all residential right now.
Okay.
We could get more into kind of the business model, but yeah, these were all residential customers.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that kept building out. We kept getting more and more phone calls, and then we went back down in April and kind of checked on how everything was going. And then when we came back after April, I had another really, really hard conversation with my wife, because I told her, I said, look, this is going to work. I mean, this is absolutely something that we can turn into a living for us, and I can make, we can make more, we can have a better lifestyle than we could doing nursing or doing anything. And so that was the middle of April, around Easter or so. And then by May, I was coming up for a break in school again before another semester during the summer, and we sat down and talked, and within about a 2-week time frame, we decided to withdraw from school and move down to Dallas and go full time with this in the middle of May. And so we've really only been down here doing it full time just June, July, August, a couple months, 4 or 5 months. And in that time, we've grown we have about 200 clients, with about, I was just looking at this morning, about 36 to 40% of those found us just online. They knew nothing about us, just online only. And so in just the time frame from about June to October, we've been able to gross about $70,000 with just one lawn crew, which has been amazing, and I've never done before.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And so how did you track who found you online? Just via either a phone number or a web form that you have?
Yeah, that's a good question. We set all of our sites up with analytics and stuff, of course, we can, and I monitor that every couple days to find more keywords and stuff. But whenever anyone calls us, we always ask them how they found us. Was it a flyer? Was it a neighbor? Was it a friend? And so we can track that. And then we also take an email address for everyone that calls us, whether it be a lead or someone that's already signing up, so that we can, like everyone says in internet marketing, the money's in the list. And so we try to build this massive list of customers, of email addresses, because that's completely free marketing. And that's true, with a website or with a physical business. That we send out, regular email blasts about different services that we can offer. And so it would be 36% of our customers or so have come from online, but it would be hard to really know for sure how much of our total business volume has been from online, because we do those types of things that are, send out emails, newsletters, things like that.
Right. So yeah, traditional customers that maybe found you through word of mouth or some other way offline, you may have been able to increase their overall value because you're using email marketing and other things, to get their repeat business as well. So I love that. I absolutely love that story, that you've been able to apply these advanced online tactics to something, as business, as traditional, and that's been around for a long time. Just lawn care, landscaping. So that's something that when I think of, and my neighbors that live next to me, they have hired landscapers. So actually every Friday they come by and cut their lawn. So probably sometime today they're going to start mowing the lawn. And I doubt they're doing any of these online tactics. They're just a few guys that come and mow the lawn, So I think it's very smart on your part, and I'm amazed that you've been able to grow your business as fast as you have just in the past 6 months, essentially from nothing to where it is, to full time. So how many employees do you currently have then?
Well, and I'm glad you asked that, because that, I thought our hardest problem to, growing a company was going to be to get the word out and to build the company, to get customers interested. And that has actually been the easiest part of the company, building it. Wow. And I thought the easiest part would be finding employees and stuff like that. But that has actually been the hardest part. And so our growth has been somewhat slowed due to finding good employees, people that we can, because we wanted to build this as a somewhat passive income. And so to find people that you can trust giving, $20,000 of equipment and a credit card to every day has been somewhat difficult.
Sure,
but right now, right now we have 2 guys out working today. And in the height of the summer, we had about 4 or 5 guys working. So we've been able to manage it with just 1 crew, about 1.5 crews. And the beginning of the year, our site wasn't, ranked on the top 10. So we're hoping that we're planning and forecasting for just a ridiculously crazy spring, with our site being on the top 10 for multiple keywords. We don't really know what to expect entirely. So that's been kind of the hard part right now, is planning how to handle the growth in the spring.
Right, absolutely, yeah. When the season changes in the spring, everybody's going to want to be looking for a new lawn service to hire. So absolutely, that's going to be a growth period for you guys. So you want to be geared up for that. I was going to ask specifically about your website. Do you just have one website and you are ranking individual pages for different keywords? Is that how you work it, or do you have multiple niche sites?
We have multiple niche sites. We have, I'm thinking like 5 different websites actually. And they're kind of focused on either on different communities or on different parts of our business. So they're different websites, but our main site has, I was just looking at it the other day, I think it has like 50 or 60 different pages to it. So not a ton, but they are. And the beauty of the internet marketing is that you can hyper niche. You can niche market, you can hyper niche, you can get so far down to what people are actually looking for that they land on a page that is for the service that they actually really want.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's great. Rather than landing on just a generic lawn service website or a shoe company website or a restaurant website, they can find whatever they're looking for, exactly what it is, with a page that's focused on that, with pricing and everything, and they're going to buy. Once they can find that, they don't have to shop around and try to find what they want. They're going to buy if it's exactly what they want.
Absolutely. And is your website or one of your websites something that you'd be willing to share with everybody here on the podcast?
Yeah, sure. I mean, our main website, it's workingforcollege.com, and it's the number four, so just workingforcollege.com.
Okay.
And that one's kind of our main website. And this is another point I want to talk about too, I guess, is that you don't have to be a internet or a tech guru to be able to compete online. You really don't. And that was something that I think kept me away from it for so long. After you and I had our first conversation about what you were doing, I was so intimidated by it because I had tried to learn HTML and I couldn't learn it. It was way too complicated for me. And so when you introduced me to WordPress, I got on there and I was like, oh my gosh, I mean, this is so easy. And you really don't have to be some sort of a guru to know how to use these things. And so there's so much free stuff out there that you can take advantage of and use to compete. And WordPress really gives you the opportunity to have an incredibly professional looking web presence that customers trust and that they're gonna believe in, because we've all been to web pages for different companies around our communities, and it's almost hard to even read the sites because they're not well done. They don't really have any real information. And so I really love that WordPress simplifies all of that with so many different kinds of plugins and things. You can do so much with it.
Yeah, and a point there that I want to emphasize is that just the fact that you have a website for your landscaping business sets you apart from probably, I'm guessing, most of your competition, within the other Dallas landscapers or Allen, Texas landscapers. They probably just don't even have a website. So just the fact that you have something there probably not only allows you to get those additional contacts because people find you in Google, but when they do find you, you look a little more authoritative because you have a nice presence, a nice looking site. They know that you're real and you have a phone number there. They can give you a call. So that's something that I think other people with a service business, and not just a landscaping business, of course, can implement. They can at least get something, no matter how small their niche is per se, and get something going online. And I do want to dig into a little bit about how did you get your site to rank in Google? What sort of tactics were you using? Were you doing link building? Maybe walk us through that a little bit.
Sure. And I don't want to sound like this is a sales pitch for Longtail Pro, but I will say that was because I did initially play with the Google AdWords, keyword tool generator or whatever, and that just didn't bring up as much of what I wanted as Longtail Pro. So what I kind of did initially was I just typed in general kind of keywords in Longtail Pro, and I started finding ones and going, and I looked at how the other sites were, kind of using all the tactics that you kind of teach and stuff. And so kind of comparing against the competition, I just, a lot of it initially was 100% just good content. Just having the right content that people wanted, and that Google saw as good is what initially started getting different pages and things ranked. I did do some link building with different like forums and things like that, kind of commenting about landscaping and different things. A lot of my links came from actually job postings that I posted on, and that wasn't intentional. I didn't, again, I didn't really know anything about the internet before this year, and so I would post jobs on different college websites because I was actually looking for college students to work, and those gave me a lot of good backlinks.
Okay.
And so that helped a lot, and yeah. And then I did try some. I did use Fiverr to try to do some link building, but I guess I would kind of caution against that because the links weren't great quality links, and now with I guess the new Google update about over optimization and stuff. I'm afraid that might have actually hurt me a little bit. So I
Hmm.
would maybe not do that. I mean, you always, kind of like everyone says, and I should have known when I started, is that you want to build good quality links, and just kind of junk links aren't gonna help you out in the end.
Yeah, no, I think that's some great point. What I hear you saying is essentially that by targeting the proper keywords and really finding those long tail keywords specifically and just writing great content is a large portion of why you ranked so well in Google. And then the other piece of that, the link building, you weren't doing some sort of massive link building campaign or anything
No.
overly complex or time consuming or costly. You have some basic links, forum links, job posting links, and some other things
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and I thanks for clarifying too, because I think that was one of the reasons I didn't do anything like that was because again I didn't know how to. I'd read all these link building things and all these link will stuff, and I didn't get it. I didn't know how to do that. So the reason I didn't have a lot of links initially was because I just didn't know how, and so I kind of left it as it was. But kind of like we've mentioned a few times, there aren't a lot of companies that have good websites that are targeted at specific keywords. So even without doing that link building, a local community company can rank because you're not expected to have a lot of links, and a lot of companies will have none. And so just by having the right keywords and writing good content, you're going to rank for whatever your business is if it's a niche community company.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's awesome, and it gets me even a little bit fired up thinking about ideas that I could do, um, locally here in my own community, because there's so many easy keywords that would be quick to rank for if I just offered,
Oh yeah.
if I had if my business was, that particular service here in the Tri-Cities, where I live, it would be so easy to rank for. In fact, that reminds me here every winter we have to blow out our sprinklers because the
Oh
pipes
yeah.
pipes will
Winter. Yeah.
freeze. And every year I do a Google search for sprinkler blowout in Richland, Washington, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it always fascinates me. I look at the top 10 results, and there's been one website that I've seen, one person that actually has a website, but the ones that usually are ranking are just Craigslist listings.
Oh
People will
yeah.
do a
Yeah.
quick Craigslist listing, and simply because they mention the words, sprinkler blowout, they rank
Somewhere.
at the
Yeah.
top of Google. So if I wanted to get in this sprinkler blowout service, I could probably make a ton of money just from internet leads, here in the Tri-Cities. I could probably, be at number one, and I'm sure there's several hundred other
Absolutely.
people, doing the same search that I am on Google, and I would,
Well, and that's kind of the awesome thing about it. Yeah, I mean that's what's so great about it is, I mean, you that has a lot of experience and stuff with it, you could really choose any industry you want, and tomorrow you could be in business for it because once you know how to build a site that can rank, if you're building a physical company within a community, you'll rank for whatever you want. I mean, you could have a company within a week. And that's what's so exciting about it is that, I mean, I would challenge anyone that listens to this to just type in the name of their city if it's a smaller community. I mean, the town I live in is about 100,000 people, so it's not huge, but it's within the Dallas Metroplex. I mean, just type in the name of your city alone into Longtail Pro and see what comes up. And you'll probably have 5 or 10 physical businesses ideas that you could start within the week.
I love that. I love that idea, because I think there are a lot of people listening that are probably looking for an idea, whether that's something that they can just do on the side or something they can start full time, or maybe even something they're already doing. Maybe there's other
Hmm.
landscapers or other service business individuals that are listening in that haven't really marketed their business online like they could have just by doing some of the simple tactics that you've
Yeah.
mentioned. So I think that's awesome, and it sort of excites me. I've already got a full-time business that I'm doing
Right.
online, but it does, if for whatever reason my business failed, I feel like because I have the online marketing skills that I literally could start half a dozen businesses right away and start getting customers very quickly. And so that's what you've been able to do.
Absolutely. I mean, even companies, I think, that do the website building for some physical companies, they aren't using the tools appropriately, I guess I would say. I mean, there are a couple companies that we're competitors with that have really well built sites, and they're pretty well optimized and stuff, but they're not going for the right keyword. And by using, either Google AdWords, keyword generator, or Longtail Pro, we found the right keywords to go for, and all of a sudden we're ranked above them because of it. I mean, they're going for something that's just a little bit off, and so we're able to go for the right thing and rank and get more traffic. And all of a sudden we look like a huge company when we're really just kind of starting up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good point, because a lot of times you have the business owner who obviously is usually not somebody that builds websites and, understands keyword research. And then they go and hire, a webmaster, graphic designer, or somebody to build a nice looking site for them. And a graphic designer or web designer usually isn't a marketer.
No.
And so they get a nice looking site, but they don't get the keywords.
Absolutely.
So no, that's awesome advice there as well. So your business is coming up to wintertime. What are your thoughts as less people are looking for landscaping services? Do you have other services that you offer now as well?
That's a great question too, and one of the things that we're developing, and we have a couple sites out there that we're kind of working on, is that the reason our company is named Working for College is that our intention is to, I guess this is kind of giving away what our business actually is. What our intention is to provide homeowners with all the recurring home services that they need. We don't want to be there for one time. We don't want to be a roofing company. We don't want to be a fence building company. We want to be at your home every week. And so I guess I've tried to do everything with this company with how would an internet company do it. And so we're trying to build a membership or recurring service type of site. And so what we're also offering is we do home cleaning, we do pool cleaning, and we do pest control. Anything that requires us to be at your house and we can do average monthly billing with our customers is what we're into. And so right now we're kind of working on getting our home cleaning service up and running. And then I'm going and taking the state test for pest control next month. And so we're going to start offering that. And then pool cleaning will probably come in the summer. And so with everything that we do, we're trying to be as structured around what a tech company would be as much as we can. And so, a software company does monthly pricing, or membership site, and so by offering everything in a way that customers are, so we try to be in people's homes every single week and offer somewhat in the same way that a membership site would do, or that a piece of software would do, and that people are using us very, really, really often. And the rest of our company, the back end of our company, is also built around technology. We use, highly advanced software. We've invested heavily in the software that we use, and all that with the intent that if a customer calls us for lawn care, we can offer them a wide range of services. And then that's all being billed through one company. It's one customer service. We speak English, and they get one bill a month for all their home services. So that's kind of, I guess, the long answer to what we're going to be doing during the winter time.
I absolutely love that. That is an awesome vision that you have there, John. I think that is so smart, and I didn't fully actually understand that before this call. I knew you were kind of dabbling in some other things, but I didn't quite understand that. I think that is so smart, and it makes sense. If you can be the face for sort of all their in-home service,
Absolutely.
From the range that you mentioned, I think it makes sense from a customer's point of view as well. If I've hired, John as my contact for landscaping, I trust him, might as well let him do my pest control and pool cleaning and everything else. I think that is so smart.
And that's kind of the reason we started with landscaping, because it's an industry that I knew well and I could build quickly and build a massive amount of trust with our customers. And because we're technology, because we have emails, because we're built around those types of things, all it takes is a single email to tell our customers, hey, we're doing home cleaning now. Can we start on your property this week? That's all it takes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've already got the leads. Yeah, you can email those out right away. That's so smart. You mentioned doing average monthly billing. Can you tell me about that? I mean, are you saying that rather than them paying every time you come out, you're just essentially sending them a monthly bill?
Yeah, that's actually right. And another thing that we've done, and I mean, some service companies might benefit from this, or other companies might, is that we require a credit card for them to even do business with us. We will not touch your property for any reason until we have a credit card on file. And the reason for that is because in the service industry, there's a massive amount of bad debt. And you deal with that. Customers don't pay, and they think that a lot of times the rap that comes with service companies is that they're just low life types of guys, and you can kind of push them around. And so we kind of require that. The reason I mention it is because we were afraid that by doing that we would lose customers, that people would be like, oh, I don't want to do that, and all that. But it's been the complete opposite. Customers love it, and we've actually had several real estate agents sign up with us to do multiple properties for them, because that makes their life so much easier. They don't even have to think about the bill. We just auto charge their credit card, and they can review it if they want to, and they don't have to if they don't want to. But yeah, and so what we do is we bundle all their services together, and then we give them an average 12-month price for it. And then at the first of the month, they're just automatically charged on their credit card for the service. And that's kind of behind the whole thought that we want this to be as passive for us as we can. And chasing around customers and invoices and sending out invoices just doesn't meet that for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think that's a smart move on your part. What you're doing is you're setting the expectation for the customer. You're letting them know upfront how you operate, that maybe you do things a little bit differently than maybe other landscape companies or service companies they've dealt with. But once you set the expectation up front, I think customers, obviously once they sign on to that, they know what they're getting, they expect that, and it makes your job a lot easier.
No, you're right. And I mean, I think that carries over into any business that you run, whether it's a hotel or even just a niche website. When people land on your webpage or walk into your business, they need to know that it's different. Even though you're offering the same thing that everyone else offers, how are you different, and what do you expect? Customers want things to be expected of them. They don't want to just, they want something of a higher standard, and by providing that, you're gonna grow exponentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any other points, and in particular in regards to either the technology that you're using or how you're using the internet to grow your business that we haven't touched on yet that you'd like to bring up?
I guess I would just mention that for any business or anyone that's trying to operate a physical business, to use the free resources that are out there like Google Places, Facebook, Angie's List. There's Craigslist, Thumbtack, Yahoo, Bing. List on all those places that you can, and then be active on those sites, because we know that the country in general is going to more of a social way of finding companies. So by being active on your Facebook page, on your Twitter feed, or whatever it is, people are going to start leaving recommendations, and the second you start building those networks, LinkedIn, I mean, you need to be active on all those sites, and that's really easy marketing to do. You can post on those pages at night when you're watching TV, and it really builds, it gives people a person to connect the company with, and then they're going to trust and work with you even more.
I think that's great advice. I know that's how I do my research exclusively for businesses. I always go to Google first, and by doing what you're saying there, being on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Craigslist, Angie's List, it just gives you more opportunities to show up in Google, or allow them to do more in-depth research on, hey, who is this Jon Haws guy or this working for college company? they can get a little bit of background and feel a little bit better about their decision. So
And
great points.
put pictures. Yeah, I mean, put pictures of yourself and of your crew and stuff on your sites. I mean, or of your staff, of your restaurant. Let people know that you're real. You're not just some other whatever doing whatever industry business. Just be a real person to people.
Mm-hmm. John, again, I think that's so smart. I love what you're doing with your business. I expect great things from you. I hope that you continue to grow your services, and maybe we can do another podcast a year from now, and you can tell us about your empire at that point.
That'd be great. I mean, if there's any people that don't feel like they're tech savvy and want to get into the internet stuff and feel like they want to talk to somebody who might be able to talk more at their level, I'd love to help anybody out there.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point. Is there a way that you'd like people to get in touch with you? Should they visit your workingforcollege.com website, or is there some other way they could either follow along with you or get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, they can go there. The Facebook page is the Facebook at Working for College, or I mean, if they want to just email me directly at the company, it's just the word contact at workingforcollege.com.
Okay.
And I'd love to help anybody out there.
Absolutely. No, thanks for sharing that with everybody. I think that everything that you've talked about for your business can be applied to any service business out there, and really any business in general. I think some of the things that you mentioned, even I can apply in my own business a little bit better about either setting expectations, or I could be even a little bit more open with some of the things that I do on my own sites and things. So you've got me thinking about my own business as well. But I I absolutely love what you're doing there, John. Thanks for the great advice. Any last parting words of wisdom that you want to share with anybody here?
Just work your butt off, and everything's going to work out. I mean, learn everything you can, devour every piece of information, and try it out. It doesn't hurt to try anything. I guess that's it. Absolutely.
Great advice, John. Thank you so much. Anybody that wants to check out John and his site, go over to workingforcollege.com, and the other resources I will have included in the show notes below here. Thank you, everybody, for listening to another edition of the Niche Pursuits podcast. Thank you.